My name is Mark Romoff, and I'm honored to be the chair of the Smart Cities Challenge jury. But I'm also the president and CEO of the Canadian Council for Public-Private Partnerships. And before that, I was the lead of the Ontario Centres of Excellence, which many people would know is an innovation agenda in Ontario aimed at taking the very best innovations and technologies being developed by academics on campuses across Ontario and working with the business community to get those technologies commercialized. So I've had the honor of working in the innovation space for a number of years, and I was particularly delighted to be asked to come and chair this jury because I'm so committed to, in fact, ensuring that Canada establishes itself as a world leader when it comes to innovation, because of course it's critical to Canada's economic prosperity and global competitiveness. And so it was particularly wonderful for me to have the opportunity to play a role on this really unprecedented initiative by the Government of Canada. There were several things about the challenge that were really quite remarkable, and three of them stand out in my mind. I mean, first and foremost, for this, the very first challenge of this nature by the Government of Canada, there were 130 applications that were up for consideration by the jury. That's really a very impressive response to this initiative. And then secondly, the government was able to recruit a remarkably talented and diverse jury, each of whom you've had a chance to meet through this series of videos. And they are really quite incredible people representing every corner of Canada. And that really brought a unique perspective to the analysis we were doing. And the other feature, which I think was really quite exceptional, and this may be the very first time that in fact a competition of this nature has drawn both Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities together to compete for what is a very significant award. And I was impressed because, as I mentioned, there were 130 applications received, but 18 of those applications came from communities that were either Indigenous or were partnering with Indigenous communities. So that's very significant. And equally impressive is that in the results of our discussions over the last few days and the identification of the 20 that are being shortlisted, 8 represent Indigenous communities. So I'm particularly proud of that outcome, and I think it reflects the nature of the competition and the fact that it was truly open and actually very competitive, and the results, I think, are ones we should all be very proud of. And I'm looking forward to the next phase where those 20 communities that are shortlisted will have the opportunity to demonstrate why they should be the ones who win the big awards when this jury reconvenes early in 2019. The fact that 130 communities competed in this challenge is special too, because even though only 20 are being shortlisted at this point and only 4 will in fact be the recipients of the awards, the reality is that every one of these communities had to engage every facet of their community in order to put their application together. So by that I mean that clearly municipal leaders, their members of their administration, the academic community, the business community, those players that are active in the social sector, all came together to put together these proposals. And whether successful or not in terms of the final results, these communities are on a path now where there's no turning back. And I think that the potential for this competition to actually drive real economic advances across a whole community of jurisdictions around the country is hugely positive, because all of these communities are now going to be on a path focused on becoming smarter communities. But that again comes back to the earlier points I was making, is that they're going to drive sustainability and inclusion in their communities, and that's going to really change the game for each and every of these communities, irrespective of where they are in terms of whether they've been successful in the competition or not. So I think that the potential for this thing called smart cities to become viral is huge. And I think that's going to generate remarkable benefits right across Canada that I think will not only benefit those communities, but will impact on the bottom line of Canada's economic development, but most importantly too, I think, project Canada on the world stage as a country committed to innovation and in fact developing new ideas and approaches to community development that will actually resonate around the world, and we, I think, will become a country that others begin to benchmark themselves against, and I think that's such a remarkable outcome.